Hello, this is Tradesight, Forex Market Preview and International Economic Data Roadmap for the week beginning Sunday, the 29th of June, 2014, and ending Friday, the 4th of July, 2014. That's going to be the 4th of July holiday here in the U.S. on Friday. So it's going to be obviously a bank holiday. We will have no calls Thursday evening going into Friday for that holiday event. Let's take a look, as usual, starting out with the dollar index chart. That's what it looks like here on the daily. Again, we've been talking about this the same way since, amazingly, last September. We are right where we were 10 months ago on the dollar index chart. We have not been able to break either way. The range between September to here has been a max of about 2 points, plus or minus a little bit of tails here and there. But if you really bulk in where the majority of this trading is, it's about 1.5 points really range on the dollar index, which is extremely narrow and just the flattest Forex market you can imagine. Ranges we'll talk about in a bit have gotten even weaker and lower. Matter of fact, currently the average daily range on all 10 of the major pairs that we track, the 6-month average ranges are now under 100 pips each. That's the lowest I've ever seen it in all the years I've been trading Forex, and that's about 9 years. So that is pretty amazing. Here's a look at the euro-dollar index on the daily chart. Obviously, you can see here, one way to map this out is just to look at the last month. The entire month has been spent in less than a 200 pip range. Remember, the euro dollar usually on average over time trades 130 pips a day. So if you just get 2 or 3 days in one direction, you should be able to trade about 300 pips. We haven't been able to trade 200 pips in an entire month. So that's extremely poor. A pound dollar, a little more than the euro, obviously, higher priced, but not much better at all from any perspective. Let's take a look at the Aussie dollar. It's got a nice cup and handle that could break out, but other than that, not much for construction there. And look at this. Look at the pound yen. It's not even a dollar-based pair, but look at this thing. Been dead flat since back in January and December area. 13 sell signals, 2 of them along the way. Both of them have been the highs. So not much to look at from the perspective of the daily charts. Let's cut out here and look instead at 30-minute bars on the euro for the week. And what this shows us is all of last week's action, starting at the close from last Friday, and then the open on Sunday. So Monday, first day of the week, pretty mediocre, and all the days pretty much mediocre. The biggest move was a move Thursday, down about 50 pips, 60 pips in a few hours. And then we reversed that as well. And as you can see, the whole range for the week was 90 pips. It's really not tradable. I feel lucky we've been pulling out the minor winners that we have. It's only had a losing month or so in here, and the rest of the time pulling out winners. Obviously, it doesn't add up to some of our better years that we've had, where we make 3,000 to 4,000 pips in a year. But that will come again when the ranges do expand in Forex, and of course they will eventually. But this is certainly brutal for somebody who's, if you're a Forex only trader, you're not liking this at all. If you look at the pound dollar range from high to low of the week is exactly 100 pips. Not much else to talk about in terms of what these are. There's nothing new. It's the same stuff we've been saying for the last few weeks. All right, so let's get right to the economic data and what to expect for this week. Again, like I said, we have a U.S. bank holiday on Friday for 4th of July, so there's only going to be 4 days of calls. And we'll have Sunday and Monday night's calls. That will wrap up the month of June, and then we'll report our results for the month, such as they are. All right, so here's a look. We start out the week Sunday with the building consensus out of New Zealand, preliminary industrial production out of Japan, the Aussie MI inflation gauge, and new home sales, private sector credit out of Australia. Go to Monday, housing starts, German retail sales, M3 money supply, private loans out of Europe. We've got net lending to individuals and money supply and mortgage approvals out of the UK. CPI flash estimates from the broad European sector and Italy in particular. GDP out of Canada, Chicago PMI out of the US, pending home sales out of the US at 10 a.m. Eastern Time Monday morning. AIG Manufacturing Index, Tankan Manufacturing Index out of Japan and their non-manufacturing index as well. Manufacturing PMI out of China, average cash earnings out of Japan, final manufacturing PMI out of Japan, and we wrap up Monday with the HSBC final manufacturing PMI out of China. We jump to the rate announcement out of the Bank of Australia and commodity prices going into Tuesday. Spanish manufacturing PMI, Italian manufacturing PMI, German unemployment change, final broad European manufacturing PMI. The Italian monthly unemployment rate The UK's manufacturing PMI, all the manufacturing PMI data do, obviously. We're seeing a lot of that here. Unemployment rate out of Europe, that's a big number, 5 a.m. Eastern Time. Got a bank holiday Tuesday in Canada. I'm not sure which one that is. Does it say right here? Canada Day. There we have it. Treasury Secretary Liu speaks in the morning on Tuesday. Got the manufacturing PMI and ISM PMI data here in the U.S., construction spending, IBD tip economic optimism, ISM manufacturing prices, total vehicle sales. Monetary base out of Japan Tuesday night. Trade balance out of Australia Tuesday night. Going into Wednesday, UK nationwide HPI, Spanish unemployment change, construction PMI out of the UK, final GDP and the PPI out of Europe, challenger job cuts here in the U.S., ADP non-farm employment change out of in the U.S., factory orders in the U.S., crude oil inventories, got a speech from Fed Chairperson Yellen, AIG Services Index, non-manufacturing PMI out of China, building approvals out of Australia, retail sales out of Australia, HSBC services out of China, 10-year bond auction out of Japan. Going into Thursday, this is a lot more going on. Spanish services PMI, Italian services PMI, final European services PMI, UK's services PMI coming out all early Thursday morning here in the US, and then the UK's housing equity withdrawal, retail sales out of Europe, French 10-year bond auction. We've got a rate announcement out of the Bank of England, trade balance out of Canada, and then look what we hit here. Trade balance and unemployment claims, unemployment rate, non-farm payroll changes, all on Thursday. Now, trade balance can be anytime. Unemployment's usually on a Friday, but because of the holiday, it's on Thursday. So there's two of our big three every month. The trade balance, it's nice to get them out of the way together, right? Trade balance and unemployment, we're going to be less than half size ahead of going into Thursday with all that data due. And then final services PMI, ISM services PMI, natty gas, and then something out of Australia. Friday with the U.S. bank holiday, we just got some minor stuff out of Europe. So the biggest data night is obviously going into Thursday. We'll be less than half size ahead of that. First 3 nights of the week, we can be normal size. There is some data, but none of it's significant. And that's what we got. Again, hard to see what is going to change and give us better ranges, so we remain half size now. It's been almost a full year, strangely enough. But it's really been since January, I think, that we've seen what an impact this lack of movement is having on the market in general. So that's it. We'll be in the lab calling it as usual. Hope to see you there. Brought to you by tradesight.com.